I call the member for Melton.
Thanks, Acting Speaker, and yeah, it was interesting. So I was actually thinking I was just going to miss out on getting up tonight because I thought you'd go your full 20 minutes, but anyway, not to worry. But I rise to support the Outdoor Recreation Bill 2026, and at its heart this legislation is about something simple but deeply important, of course, and making it easier for Victorians to get outdoors, and we all love doing that and enjoying our environment and connect with the natural surrounds and spaces that belong to all of us. And too often in this place we speak about infrastructure and regulation and policy in technical terms alone, but of course outdoor recreation is not just about administration, it's about people. It's about our families spending time together, it's about our children learning patience and respect for nature, and it's also about our mates camping by a river, people getting out for a walk, anglers standing by the water, hopefully they're throwing a line in trying to catch some fish, and of course communities rediscovering places that have too often been overlooked or locked away. And of course that is why I welcome this bill and the establishment of the Outdoor Recreation Victoria. And of course people here will probably know that I have a great love for the outdoors, and of course come December I'll be off experiencing and exploring the outdoors right around this countryside, not only in Victoria but interstate, heading west in February next year, and looking forward to it. And I sort of map out my trips by looking where the closest wineries are, so I normally do that. So I'm heading towards Margaret River in February next year, and we'll be going by the Eyre Peninsula, and I can assure you that the wineries will enjoy me calling through, let me say. Of course, this bill brings together the Victorian Fisheries Authority and the Game Management Authority into a new authority with a broader purpose, not simply just regulating activity, but actively promoting participation and helping people access the outdoors. And of course, Victorians have made it very clear that they want more opportunities to enjoy nature and participate in outdoor recreation. And I think that was brought home during the COVID pandemic of how important our outdoors and recreational opportunities are. And that came to fruition obviously during COVID. Of course, whether you're out fishing, boating, camping, bushwalking, or simply just spending time near water and on open spaces, and people want access to those outdoors, and they want government to help remove any barriers that stand in the way that they can enjoy those activities in our outdoor areas. And I'm hoping to do a lot of that, as I've said, later this year. And this is something that I had to delay 8 years ago. So I've lost 8 years in that travel, but I'll be making up for it. Hopefully I last long enough to make up for the lost 8 years. So we'll be revving up the motorhome very shortly at the end of the year, and we'll be off. You won't see us for dust. And it was interesting that I saw the former member for Lara coming back into the house today, and it was great to see him, and he looks great. He looks well, but I can assure you, I don't think you'll see me back here very often, let me tell you. Not unless you put a winery out the back. So, but anyway, we'll move on. Of course, the enjoyment of the outdoors is exactly the direction that this legislation takes us. And of course, we've got a fantastic long weekend coming up this weekend, and the example, we'll see it this weekend with many, many people getting out in the outdoors, whether that be camping, fishing, boating, whatever it might be. People will be out and about this weekend, regardless of what the weather is, and that's the great thing about it. People can find a recreational source that suits their needs, and it's fantastic to see, and there'll be thousands of people out, and I'm sure there'll be thousands in the campgrounds. They're probably booked out already. So, again, it's a good reminder of how important our outdoors and recreational facilities are. I particularly welcome the inclusion of the Land Access Panel, and of course, because one of the greatest frustrations that our communities raise is a lack of interest in the outdoor recreation. It is the difficulty of access, and again, that's something that people want, to have greater access to those outdoor and recreational facilities. And of course, we have great waterways and parklands and natural assets across Victoria. But too often communities encounter a bit of confusion, fragmented responsibility, or long-standing barriers that prevents them getting out. Of course, this bill recognises that the challenge and creates a mechanism to identify opportunities and work in a collaborative way across government and with land and water managers to improve access, and of course that is a practical reform. And we know the benefits of outdoor recreation are significant, you know, your physical benefits, the mental benefits, obviously, in getting outdoors and having nature around you. It's just amazing. Of course, the social benefits of, you know, getting outdoors with either family and friends and enjoying that social aspect of it. And we know that spending time outdoors improves everyone's well-being, which is so important these days. And, you know, it reduces social isolation and it strengthens the community connections, and that's a great thing to see. So important in the current times that we have. And, you know, people going fishing and boating alone support thousands of jobs, and they contribute billions of dollars to the Victorian, or have done, contributed billions of dollars to the Victorian economy. And it's great to see when you go near, and I remember the member from Morty Alex spoke about, you know, on his doorstep of the bay, the beautiful bay that we have, and, you know, fishing and boating. And it's great to see when you go to places around the coastline and see all the boaters and the fisher people, not fishermen, but fisher people. It's great to see them out there and enjoying themselves. And I was telling a story at the transport event before about being, I don't know how I did it, but I was conned by a couple of young guys in New South Wales to go out game fishing one time, and I get seasick, and I knew I would get seasick. So, of course, here I am camping in New South Wales, and these two young guys have got the most magnificent boat, and they convinced me to go out at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, what idiot would get up at 5 o'clock when you're on holidays camping? I did. And I went out on the boat and just out through the heads at Southwest Rocks, and the first thing that happened was a big wave come over the boat, and guess who copped a lot of it? Me. So it was a great start to the fishing expedition. And we got out, I don't know how far we went out, probably an hour from the coast. As soon as they stopped the motor, that was the end of me. I mean, you know, the boat's up and down, the stomach's up and down. And I tell you what, I put plenty of burley into that sea. Let me tell you, we never caught a fish. We never caught a fish. And and I tell you what, the two young blokes looked at me as if to say, why the hell did we bring him out? And thank God, an hour or two later, we're back on land. It was the greatest thing for me was to get back on land. And I said to them, if ever I'm going to go fishing again, it'll be around the corner to the fish shop. So it won't be out on a boat, chucking my guts up and, you know, and not catching any fish. So it was just ridiculous. But anyway, sorry about that story. But and look, my electorate of Melton is one of the fastest growing communities in the country. And of course, we're a community of very young families, and it's such a diverse community, and that diversity, they love the outdoors, they love recreational facilities, and it's fantastic to see. And we have some great waterways in Melton and Navan Park and the Melton Reservoir, and of course there's a nice little lake in the middle of the Melton Botanic Gardens, and it's fantastic. And we've stocked those waterways, and it's great to see kids, you know, after school or on holidays going down to those waterways and doing some fishing. And of course, you know, we gave out the fishing rods to I think it was the Year 5s only about 12 months ago, and it was fantastic to see them using those rods. And in fact, there's a local story that a few of the parents knocked the fishing rods off the kids, unfortunately, and used the rods for themselves rather than allow their kids to use the rods. So, but anyway, as I say, we have fantastic waterways out in Melton and very close to, you know, central Melbourne. And you have the Melbourne run around and boat club on the Melton Reservoir, fantastic club. They do a lot of water skiing and things like that. They have a lot of skiing competitions. But of course, we managed to get some money to have a jetty put into that reservoir, and I know there was some opposition to it. The jetty hasn't been built yet, but there's some planning and that for it. Unfortunately, there is a committee through the Melton City Council trying to work through that issue. Unfortunately, I haven't been invited to any of the meetings, but for some reason the Melton City Council have decided that they don't want me at those meetings. But anyway, that's okay. But that jetty was to provide for, you know, people wanting to do fishing in their little tinnies, off the bank, whatever, picnic area. And again, it is a great asset for Melton to have that waterway, that reservoir there. Yes, the boat club can still have their skiing and boat races and things like that, but the fishing can be at the other end of the waterway, but it's a great asset. This is a really important bill, and I commend the bill to the House.